Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our continuing video series in celebration of Disability Pride Month and in commemoration of the anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. This is Chris Nusbaum, Project Coordinator for the Bridges Technical Assistance Center. And we come now to a topic that is directly in the Bridges wheelhouse. I mean, we've been talking about stuff that we do. I mean, we were talking about the origins of the ADA, and that was just an interesting and fun historical backdrop video to do. And then we were talking about employment and advocacy and stuff, which are things that we're all interested in, and that's what we do. But primarily, we serve students and we support transition age students and their families. And so that's why we wanted to focus on higher education and how the ADA has impacted the experience of blind people in college life and in the educational setting. And who better to do that than somebody who is currently in that world? So that's why joining us now is a current student and somebody who's being recognized in and out of the blind community for his academic work. And that is Tyler Hoppe. Hey, Tyler, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Chris. Just to introduce myself and let you know a little
Yeah.
about myself. I'm a junior at Penn State University, going my third year transferring from Penn State Altoona. I've been a student for the last 3 years, coming out of high school at the Maryland School for the Blind. And I'm majoring in political science and minoring in psychology with a possible double major in the future.
Whoa, great. All
Yeah.
right. So what do you want to do with that major and or minor?
I would like to go into law school and become a lawyer and eventually
Nice.
transition into politics and become a U.S. legislator.
Whoa, that's awesome. All right. All right. We could always use more blind people in public office. I mean, I don't know.
Definitely.
Do we have any blind people in Congress? No, I guess we don't, but we should.
No. I think there's been blind people who's worked with Congress, but I don't think there's ever been a blind U.S. senator to my knowledge.
Huh. Okay. That then there's a first time for everything, and who better to do it than you? Sure, go for it. So let's talk about your college experience and where the ADA plays in. Of course, you and I both, only have the background of post ADA America, post ADA education. But let's talk about the accommodations that you use. What do you do on the daily basis as far as your classes, and what's the experience been like for you going to a pretty big university, Penn State, and getting the accommodations that you need?
So far, my accommodations entering the college environment with Penn State has been excellent. I've only run into a few like snags with like professors who, aren't familiar with, giving accommodations, but my experience has been great with Penn State. And I think that's solely because of the ADA. Without the ADA, I wouldn't be as successful in college as I am right now. Right now, I'm rocking a 4.0 because I was given the materials to succeed.
Awesome.
But some of the accommodations I get is I get all of my work, my classwork, including exams in an electronic format that can be accessed by a screen reader for any classes that are have like advanced charts and graphs. Like when I took my calculus class or my astronomy class, the university provided me with tactile graphs and different facts and figures in tactile form, along with an electronic description just to confirm the information. And I get extra time on my exams and tests so that I can access them with a screen reader successfully.
Great. So one of the things that the ADA has created, or at least promoted, in the college environment has been the Disability Service Office. So yeah, they were around in some colleges beforehand, but the ADA and the mandate for accommodations has definitely, put them in most, if not all, colleges. So, what's your experience with the DSO or whatever it's called at Penn State been like?
They've been excellent there. When I was at Penn State Altoona, I was working with a woman named Mandy Ronan through the Disability Service. She actually ran the entire office, and I would probably meet with her every once a week, or as needed down there, just to make sure everything was going smoothly and I was getting everything I needed in my education. And then with my transfer over to the main campus at University Park, I've been meeting with a gentleman named Nick Russo, and we've been working all throughout the summer over Zoom and with the instructional design office at Penn State University Park to make sure all my classes are made accessible and everything's there that I need. They've been excellent with communication, just being clear about everything, keeping me up to date on timelines of when like different accommodations are being made with my work over the course of either the summer or even into the semester if it's like a more advanced course that needs more work to it. There's really like a sense of community. I don't feel like they want to just like get me in and out of there. They really cared to make sure that I'm thriving in my education through Penn State. I don't know if it was like bigger university or if it was because they hadn't had a lot of blind students that I know of, especially at the Altoona campus, but they really made sure everything that I needed got done.
That's great. So you came into college, it was maybe your freshman or sophomore year would be the COVID semester. It was my junior year,
Yeah.
half of my junior year, second half of my junior year, first half of my senior year was when our whole college experience was upended by COVID. And so you went from entirely virtual learning back to the in-person model. So how did that work out for you, the both transitions?
When I was at the Maryland School for the Blind for high school, when COVID started, we went completely virtual. And with my transition into college, Penn State was doing completely virtual at the time. So I actually deferred a year to
Smart.
yeah, I wanted them to kind of get the idea of what they were doing with the virtual, if that
Right.
makes sense, before just like jumping straight into it. So when I actually attended, they were doing a hybrid. So they were doing in person with masks. And then I think it was like they were allowed up to 50% of the course to be virtual. And I feel like that was a really good like transition into college from, high school being fully virtual in the end to like a hybrid to, just normal classes now, because it gave me a chance, if I had any issues like, learning over Zoom or with like some kind of graph that they couldn't get to me tactily or something. I had the chance to be actually in the classroom at points and discuss with my professor the material or what I needed and make sure everything got done when I needed it.
Great. Yeah, that's a good experience then during COVID when so many of us have horror stories, both blind and sighted.
Yeah.
So has there ever been a time when you've really hit a snag with a professor or just like anybody who has really had a problem with providing you with an accommodation and you've had to do some advocacy? And if so, you've had the ADA backing you up, and how has that worked for you?
Yeah. So when it comes to snags, there would be little ones here and there, like say, a professor, forgot a graph or, forgot to give the disability office material. But they were always excellent at just working around. I would always, come up to them, either just raise my hand in class or come up to them after class and just, explain that, I needed the material. I think there was only one professor, so far that I've ever had a real issue with
Hmm.
for a creative writing class I took, because
Wow.
yeah, she refused to do anything electronically, even though like the entire university was basically forcing her to because I was in the class.
Whoa.
But when I got into class, I just sat down and talked to her. I talked to the disability office, and we ended up getting everything sorted out. She was very hesitant with it, but
Yeah.
pretty much it was just a workaround, because what would happen is I would submit my stuff electronically, and then she would leave class for about 10 minutes and then print it for everybody. It was the weirdest experience I've ever had, but I ended up doing well in the class, and we got to know each other over the semester, and
Well,
she
what
I
was
think
her objection?
I think if I'm going to be honest, I think she was just older and
Yeah.
not familiar with like technology a lot. There was other issues with that professor that didn't even regard me on
Right.
terms of accessibility. For example, she ended up leaving the country to go on vacation for about a week in Africa and didn't tell the university.
Whoa.
So it was a
Okay.
very interesting experience with that professor. But once I got just talking to her with what I needed, and then I talked to the disability service office and the instructional design office, everything was sorted out, because I think they ended up kind of taking on the duties she was supposed to have in order to even have her class go. So it ended up working out in the end, but that was probably the biggest snag I've hit so far in college.
Okay. All right. Well, overall, you've had a great experience. So, final question. A lot of people who are watching this video are either people who are transitioning from high school to college, people who are getting ready to make that transition, like you did a couple years ago, or who are the parents of those transitioning students. So, from your experience, what would be some tips that you'd offer those people?
Don't be afraid to speak up. Let the university know what you need. Make sure you talk to your professors, because even though the university tends to share information with the professors about you, if you have an accommodation letter and stuff, it's still good to sit down and get to know your professors, talk to them with what you need. Another big thing is any accommodation you might need, or any remediation with a textbook, something like that. Make sure you get that done as early as possible. I was actually working on this in the student government at Penn State, to have the option for people to register with a disability service office as soon as they get their acceptance letter to the university.
Good idea.
Because I was hearing stories of people getting in classes and then going over to the disability office requesting accommodations once they've already been starting classes.
They're like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the university, they need time to be able to get stuff done, just to make sure everybody knows what they need to know. So yeah, my biggest advice is just make sure people know you're there, know what you need, and that you do it in a timely manner.
Yeah, yeah, all good tips. All right, somebody in the trenches doing it, making it happen. Tyler Hoppe. Thank you so much, Tyler.
Yep, anytime.
All right, and if you watching this need help with any of that stuff, if you are a student who is in need of advocacy support or just looking for tips and resources for your transition, or anything related to the ADA or accessibility in your educational journey, you can always visit our blog, our website, follow our social media, and email us. We are here to support you. That's helpdesk@imagemd.org, helpdesk@imagemd.org.